Guests on here, but occasionally I run into somebody who just, man, their material, what they're teaching, the quality of the person rocks my world, and I want to introduce them to you, to our listening audience. This hour on a Valentine's Day special is one such hour. Our guest this hour, Dr. Emerson Eggerichs. And Dr. Eggerichs, which I always stumble over that for some reason or another, has written a fabulous best-selling book, over 1,300,000 copies sold, Love and Respect. Love and Respect. And the thesis of this book, the underlying material of this book, has taught all over America. He speaks. He's a fabulous speaker. He spoke here at our offices the other day. And I just, as soon as he spoke and we went through the stuff, he was, had our gang just laughing and crying and punching each other and everything else, and in a loving way, of course. And so I just said, hey, we get so many marriage questions. Would you come on the air? Because I'm not a marriage expert. I'm just an old guy who's been married a long time with an opinion, and you're the guy that's got all the research, and you're really onto something. Would you come and share this material? Emerson, welcome to the show, friend.
Oh, thank you. And your audience knows, I'm sure, just how honored I am to be here. This is very special to me. Thank you, Dave.
Well, thank you. We're honored to have you. And, man, this guy is incredible. And this book is off the charts. I mean, there's a lot of best-selling books that never make over 300,000 or 400,000 copies sold. This is kind of like the old Total Money Makeover book. It just keeps on keeping on because it's the kind of book that you can pick it up 3 years later, and it's still applies. It's what we in the publishing business call evergreen. My daughter, my oldest daughter, Denise, is getting married in June, and this is one of her favorite marriage books. Thank goodness. I mean, she's got a shot, brother. She's going to make it. So, very, very good stuff. All right, let's talk about it because, I do get, I guess, as many as half the questions on the show have something to do with relationships, but certainly a lot of them to do with money and marriage. And, my buddies in the counseling business like you that really are docs and really do know how to do this stuff always kind of make fun of me because one of my friends says, Ramsey, you treat symptoms because money problems are always the symptom of something else going on. And that's exactly right. Guilty as charged. And marriage and money problems are usually marriage problems. They're not really money problems. The money exposes the lack of love or lack of respect being felt. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I have the phrase, money doesn't cause the problems. It reveals the problems in the relationship. And one of the things that the University of Washington discovered is they studied 2,000 couples for 20 years, and they discovered the two key ingredients to successful marriages. They watched very carefully and said, when these two ingredients are present, the marriage is going to make it, in spite of money problems, sex problems, in-law problems, a lot of those issues. But when those two ingredients are not present, then the relationship can begin to struggle and even fail. And they said it's love and respect. And I thought that's fascinating. And then they talk about how men respond differently during those problems. 85% of those who stonewall are men. But that begins to feel very unloving to a woman. And women tend to move toward the husband to criticize, complain. That feels like contempt to a man. And so there was a gender difference there. And so we do a lot of research ourselves, and so I was intrigued by this. So we've asked 7,000 people this question. When you're in a conflict with your spouse or significant other, do you feel unloved at that moment or disrespected? Dave, 83% of the men said they feel disrespected. 72% of the women say they feel unloved. So let's just take that money issue. When they get into that conflict.
So when I'm stonewalling, sometimes known as pouting.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's because I don't feel respected.
Well, it could be. I mean, I know your wife, and so I don't think that would be the case. You're pouting, and you're.
I don't do it very often, so she's pretty good at it.
But exactly. But I think there is part of the reason men stonewall. If their heartbeats get to 100 beats per minute, we're in warrior mode. So men try to de-escalate what they perceive to be a provocation. So they withdraw because that's the honorable thing to do, but that can feel unloving to a woman. A woman can seek to do the loving thing to move toward. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about it right now. Don't walk away from me. And that ends up being viewed as disrespectful, even though our heart is motivated to do the loving thing. So we misunderstand each other in our certain behaviors. That make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I read a book one time called The Bait of Satan, and the thesis of the book was that Satan is basically excellent at baiting us by making us, especially men, to become offended. It's kind of an offshoot of the respect issue, I guess.
Yes. Well, in fact, on that very point, we discovered a correlation between love and respect, that when a wife feels unloved, given that she needs to feel that during conflict. Majority of the time, we all need love and respect equally, but the felt need during conflict differs. And so if she's feeling unloved, her spirit can deflate, and the guy thinks, oh, brother. But a lot of times it becomes a reaction that feels disrespectful to him. And then when he feels disrespected, he ends up reacting in a way that feels unloving to her, and thus was born what I call the crazy cycle. Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts without love. Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts, and this baby starts to spin, and it gets crazy. And coming back to your point of offensive behavior, the truth is, without love defensively, she's reacting offensively without respect. And without respect defensively, he's reacting offensively without love. So in these conflicted moments, we all are a bit insecure. We may be feeling the message of disapproval or whatever, so we defensively react. But we react in ways that ends up offending the other person, and we're not trying to, and that's why this crazy cycle can spin out of control among people of goodwill. We're not married to Hitler's distant cousin.
Are you sure? I've talked to a couple of them. That's possible. But all right, if you want to talk marriage, now listen, here's your marriage call. We're going to open up the phones. You can talk to Dr. Emerson Eggerichs here. Love and Respect is the book. Loveandrespect.com is the website. At Love and Respect is the is the Twitter handle, and so you can find him there as well. But if you want to talk to him, here's the deal, though. These aren't money questions that we're after. I'll take a money question, money and marriage question, but remember that if there's something going on in your marriage and having to do with money, it's probably a symptom of something going on in your marriage. That's what we're just saying here. So any kind of marriage question on this Valentine's Day, volatile Valentine's Day, there you go, right there. You can jump in and we'll talk. The number 888-825-5225. We are going to open up the phones, take a few calls, 888-825-5225. I've already gotten about 8,000 emails because we put on the website that you were going to be on here, and people went bananas because you have tons of fans out there.